down. Got it to DK Metcalf. And fighting his way for the touchdown. The route is on, and the Steelers with 4 straight touchdown drives on their way off the field as they get to 8-6.
Good morning and welcome to First Take. I'm Courtney Cronin filling in for Shay on this Tuesday, and we have a ton to get to today. Stephen A. Smith, Super Bowl champs, Jeff Saturday, Chris Canty here with me in New York. Let's dive right in. A great Monday night football game. Some offense, actually, from this game. Didn't see that coming. The Steelers eliminated the Dolphins from playoff contention with a 28-15 win. Tua Tagovailoa remains winless in games where the temperature at kickoff is under 40 degrees. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers threw for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns to help Pittsburgh remain undefeated at home on Monday Night Football since 1992. And with the win, the Steelers currently hold a 1-game lead over the Ravens with a pivotal Week 18 matchup in Pittsburgh to decide the AFC North title. And no matter what, the Ravens must win in the Steel City if they hope to remain kings of the North. ESPN Analytics favors Baltimore in that one, but history does not have the Ravens in too high of regard. They are 2-9 against the Steelers in the regular season since the 2020 season. Now, obviously, a lot of things have to happen here before we get to that Week 18 game. But Stephen A., as we foreshadow this out in the AFC North, who will win the division?
It looks like the Steelers are going to win it. When you look at the Ravens' schedule and what they've got, I mean, you've got a Patriots team that just blew a 21-point lead on their home turf with a division crown on the line and lost to the Buffalo Bills. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with, what they're feeling at that particular moment. You got a Packers team that lost not only Micah Parsons, but lost their division lead because they lost to the Broncos. So the Bears are back out in front. And so you got 2 incredibly important games. That's an uphill steam for the Ravens, not to mention the fact that you got the Steelers to close out the season, a team you already lost to just a week or 2 ago. And so you look at it from that standpoint. I look at the Steelers with the Lions. That's possibly likely a loss as far as I'm concerned. But then I could see them beating Cleveland, and then you still have at least 1 game up on the Ravens going into the season finale. So I'm of the mindset right now that just based on the schedule alone, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in prime position to win this division, essentially by default.
And we know that Ravens schedule, they could be eliminated before that Week 18 matchup.
Right.
They've got the Lions, or rather the Patriots at home this week.
Yeah.
They've got the Packers on the road. Jeff, how do you see this playing out for the AFC North?
Yeah, I think it's the Steelers to lose. I mean, when you think about it, the Steelers played their best game of the season last night. That's the facts of it. If you watch them offensively, they were physical. They actually ran the football, which they have not done pretty much all season. Aaron Rodgers played his best game. That pass MBS across the middle, he takes that thing, and then obviously DK Metcalf, when he catches that thing, just throws everybody off of him and walks in the end zone. But I thought the physicality from the offensive side was the surprise. And then you flip it over defensively. Listen, Miami had run the ball really well, and they're not a great team. I understand the cold weather, but they have a lot of smoke and mirror type run plays. The Steelers shut that down, and they forced Tua to do things. Tua turns it over early, and they end up walking. This thing wasn't nearly as close as the score indicated.
No.
And so if you're the Steelers, this is what you needed. You need to go in the playoffs on a run. You don't want to limp in the playoffs, and this was a good start towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we have to contextualize what last night was. The Pittsburgh Steelers put the clamps on a Miami Dolphins offense that had ran the ball for 160 yards or more in each of the last 4 games.
That's
the
right.
Dolphins came in with a ton of momentum, winning
Yes.
5 of their last 6. So say what you will about having a low bar to clear going up against a losing team in your building in December. That was a quintessential Mike Tomlin performance from that Steelers defense. They got the book out on Tua, took away his first read last night, forced him into some plays that created some negatives. They had negative 20 yards for that Dolphins offense in the third quarter.
That's right.
Unbelievable effort.
Yeah.
But I think what's taken this team to the next level over the last couple of weeks is what we've seen from their offense.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers being able to push the ball down the field in the vertical passing game has unlocked a lot of opportunities for those guys underneath.
Gainwell.
Think about what Kenneth Gainwell did, not just as a runner, but as a receiver out in the backfield. Those plays don't happen unless defenses are terrified of DK Metcalf taking the top off of the defense. And so I think Aaron Rodgers is showing the ability to push the ball down the field is what should concern Pittsburgh Steelers opponents moving forward.
That's right.
Well, I think the thing about it is that, we talk about how the Steelers set the table. They started off slow, and then ultimately they got going near the end of the first half, and then they really, really poured it on in the second half, particularly in the third quarter when I outscored them 14-0 and held them to negative 20 yards. My attitude is, remember, I picked the Steelers to win this game. I knew coming into the game what was going to happen because of the meteorologist. I mean, the minute we learned that it was going to be less than 40 degrees, we know what happens to the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa quarterback in the team. They don't win games. It's amazing to me that you have an NFL team that can't play in inclement weather. Dolphins in games 40 degrees or colder. 14 straight losses. Think about that, y'all. Think about that. Now, I keep telling people this. That's why I give the Chargers so much credit, because the Chargers and the Rams, you're playing in SoFi Stadium, you're playing in beautiful Southern Cal weather, but then you travel on the road under rigid conditions and you rise up to the challenge. You remember you're an NFL team. That is not the reputation of the Dolphins over the last several years. So we kind of knew the outcome of this game the minute we saw that the weather report said it was going to be pretty cold out there in the teens.
Yeah, to put up 28 points. I thought Aaron Rodgers put this best yesterday. He said this is a team of cast-offs, from Kenneth Gainwell to Adam Thielen, who just signed there.
Was sure to make sure everybody knew that he wasn't a cast-off.
No, everybody else
around me is a cast-off, but not me, though. I'm the four-time MVP.
If you look at this roster, Canty, can this be a team that gets into the playoffs now that it shows that it can play offense and it can score 28 points and it can contend in January if it does this? Does this team, this variation that they got last night, win a playoff game?
Well, here's the thing. I can't take it off the board that they won't win a playoff game because of who's involved. You got Mike Tomlin, who, contrary to what Steelers fans may think, is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. And you have Aaron Rodgers, who has a hell of a lot of experience. And given the state of the AFC, no Patrick Mahomes, potentially no Lamar Jackson. If you take care of your business, no Joe Burrow. Why can't the experience of the head coach quarterback tandem of the Pittsburgh Steelers, coupled with some playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, be the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers win a home playoff game this year? I get that they haven't done it in 9 years.
Yep.
I get that there are other teams who have a better body of work in terms of more consistency, but it's not about who's played the best for the entirety of the year.
Right.
It's about who's playing the best football right now. And the last 2 weeks, we've seen Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers play their best football.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me. I mean, right now, if the playoffs started, they would match up with the Chargers, right? And the Chargers, we know they're banged up. But listen, the Chargers can get after you. They can push you around. They can play physical.
They just beat the hell out of the Steelers a couple of weeks ago.
You know what I'm saying? So, that would be their draw. If they played if the Bills got to come see them, they beat the Bills. If the Texans make it. When I look at the teams they would play, it's hard for me to rubber stamp, they're going to win one of the playoffs.
Hey, none of them quarterbacks you just talked about won a road playoff game.
Yeah, fair. Now, the Josh Allen one, I'll say that he has not. He's 0-4, but he's walked off the field. He's walked off the field with 13 seconds. You think he should have won a couple. It's worked out the way it has. I don't know that I would favor them, honestly, against any of those opponents at this point.
Stephen A., you
None of them.
At the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's Baltimore. That was a hard-fought win for them to come back and win on the road. Miami. Can this variation of the Steelers, what you've seen in this sample size, as Canty was pointing out, you play your best football in December and January, does this team win a playoff game?
No, that's my problem. I'm a Steelers fan, and I don't feel that way. That's why I'm melancholy at best, because let's scour the AFC. You got to remember, you can't bring up the Ravens because one or the other is going to make the playoffs, okay?
Right.
Winning the division. Outside of that, they're going to be out. So let's look around it. Would I pick them to beat Buffalo? No. Would I pick them to beat New England? No. Would I pick them to beat the Jaguars or Houston? No. Would I pick them to beat Denver or the Chargers? No. I wouldn't pick them to beat any of those teams. That's my issue. And everything, we all know that Mike Tomlin's a great coach. We know what he's done over his 18-year career. We can't take anything away from him. But the reality is that they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. And Steeler Nation is not going to be satisfied until you get that playoff victory. Yeah. Now, you don't have to win the Super Bowl. You don't have to get to the Super Bowl, whatever. But you can't be the Steelers and a decade plus has passed and you don't have a single playoff victory.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just egregious. You have to win a playoff game. And it's not going to be classified as anything remotely close to a success if that doesn't happen. And I don't know anybody that's looking and scouring the AFC and thinks definitively, oh, Steelers going to get you a playoff win. Right. Nobody feels that way.
So Pittsburgh goes on the road. They've got Detroit this Sunday. They're one win away from clinching another non-losing season. It's hard to believe that 21 straight seasons on the line with a better than 500.